Hello, my name is Jeff Bornstein. Welcome to Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv. I am your host, along with my wonderful co-host, Miss Kimberly. Hello.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. This is our first episode, and we've got some amazing veterans with some great stories today.
Yes, we do, and now you did not serve. You were a civilian. You were a PFC, private civilian. Huh? Okay. So what'd you do?
Well, I worked at an Army depot plant, and I worked in transportation, but that's classified, so I can't give out too much information, but we did make bombs.
They blew shit up. So our first guest, I'm sure is very experienced in this kind of stuff. A very dear friend of ours. I want to go and introduce him. I'll let him tell you about. I'll give you a little backstory about him. He's originally from Seattle, Washington. Started off in the Navy, then he went into a different branch. Yes. Yeah. But please welcome our very first guest, Michael Mayo. Hey, Michael, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Welcome. I'm so excited for you to be here.
I'm excited about being here.
So let me ask you. So you were in the service. You went from the Navy into which branch?
The Army.
The Army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after I did 2 tours,
Did you say tour or tour?
Tour.
Okay.
Tour.
Tour.
Sure. We'll
You're
go with
used
that.
to me saying
Yeah.
it.
So after I did that, I wanted to be a little bit more hands-on.
Nice.
I met some people during some training ops in Thailand, and they made a good deal for me to go into the Army. So I got on a plane, flew to where was it? Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Flew to Kentucky, and then was wearing an Army uniform and kind of bounced around from there. But
Good for you, man. That's awesome, man.
It is.
Well, so you did 5 tours. I was reading your bio, and you did five tours.
yeah, I did. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, 3 tours in Iraq.
Wow, man.
And then I did a lot of traveling on top of that. So
Wow. What was the? Let's start here. You obviously did 5 wars. What was the scariest thing that you can remember in any of the wars that you were in?
you know,
Anything just pop in your head, or
nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing. It's
you saw a lot of-
actually no. You know what? Something did. Driving through the middle of the desert with no headlights on in the middle of the night with no moon, trying to use a single nod to try to find out where you're driving.
Oh.
Anybody that's been in the Middle East knows. I mean, there's a lot of cliffs and dives. and
Yeah.
Whoa.
and there's no you don't get any 3-dimensional stuff. So just driving, and you're on your way to a mission or you're on your way back. And especially since they somehow love the prank of putting me at the head of that. So
Right.
there's no 3D perception, there's no depth, there's nothing. You're just driving and being like, well, I just really hope there's nothing out there in front of me. So
Wow. Let me ask you this. So you had that, which kind of maybe might go into this next question for me. I'd find you human. What was the funniest thing that happened over there?
well, funniest to me or funniest that most people would think funny?
Funny, Michael Mayo. Funny to Michael Mayo.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep that to myself for now. I don't think that the people at home would really appreciate that story. But
Right.
there's you get conditioned to a lot of things that most people don't get conditioned to. So your sense of humor changes with it, and so one day you find yourself telling a story, and people just give you the most god awful looks. So
Right.
I learned my lesson.
Nice.
I'm stopping there.
Done. Well,
So, Michael, what was the most memorable thing that you experienced?
Just it wasn't any one thing. It was for 3 of my tours. Well, 2 for my full group, but I got to know a lot of those guys very well.
which one are you now? Which one are you?
Can't
You're
you
the one
tell?
going like this?
I know
Oh,
which
no.
one you
no, that
are.
is not me. I'm
Okay.
actually the one standing next to him with my tongue sticking out.
Okay.
That's exactly what I thought.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love that
So,
shot, man. I love that shot.
Yeah.
great.
And
You guys locked and
love
loaded
it.
there?
I don't.
It doesn't matter. You got a bunch of badasses, and it wouldn't matter anyway. You just throw the
Yeah, and
weapon at me. I'm done.
we're with the 187th Infantry Regiment, which
Nice.
is the Rockasans out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Nice.
Wow.
And that was, we had just, I think, gotten to Fob Falcon, which is just south of Baghdad. And it was like right when we got there, still had a couple new people in our group, and we came under fire almost immediately right when the helicopter was touching down. So it was
Wow.
like welcome type of deal. But
That's one of the scariest things I would say is scary.
well, Not really. I mean,
Okay,
you've never
alright.
seen them shoot, so you know, you end up being like, all right. And,
Right.
So Michael, you literally, as soon as the chopper like landed, you guys got out of the plane, and
Yeah.
it was just like instant.
Yeah, we dropped
in
our
it.
packs and we were getting out of the helicopter, and it started at Charlie Gate, which was on the west side, and so we went over, and that was it.
You did your
Like,
job.
everybody got their CIBs pretty much immediately.
Tell our viewers who are not military what CIB means, because some may not know what that
combat infantryman badge. A combat infantryman badge is given to an infantryman who has experienced full-on combat for his first time, and it's a very prestigious award.
is.
Even though, I mean, it's basically your job to get one. So
is. Right. Very cool. Well, so now you've done 5 tours, and you've seen the defecation hit the rotary blade. You've seen it all, man. So now you come home. All right. You've come home, and what was the toughest thing about coming home?
coming home.
I mean, you see stuff portrayed in movies and like that. I mean, we know it's not, you know. And look, we're in the business. We're all in the business. We Hollywood it up. But what is it really like? I mean, the short version. What's the short version?
Well,
Bullet point it.
You get used to one lifestyle, and so when you come home, I mean, honestly, I'm still in some ways not really ever came back because
Well,
I still expect people to act a certain way, and I still, you know, I'm still always in that military mindset of like, you know, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is, you know, and you get very rigid in some ways, and in some ways spoiled because you kind of know what's going to come.
yes,
but,
ma'am, no, ma'am. People kind of freak out like, what did you just call me?
Yeah.
Right?
And in many ways, you end up missing a lot of the things that you absolutely dreaded and hated about being deployed or being away from your family. So
Yeah, and especially with your family. I know you're married and you have a couple of
I am.
children too.
Yes, I have
so
3 children.
wow.
Maybe another one.
Oh, that's good.
We're hoping.
Oh yeah,
So-
we got a picture right
Yes,
here. His
that's
wife,
my wife,
Amy.
Annie. That's,
lovely wife Annie.
She's
That is
awesome.
literally right when we got to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
that,
so when you
nice.
moved, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's a great
So I
picture.
flew her. I didn't want her having to be on the road, but her dad actually is a wonderful man and drove with me pretty much nonstop from Seattle to here.
Oh,
and
that's
so
cool.
We told them that we were actually staying over the night at a hotel. We didn't. We just kept on driving. So
Wow.
6 a.m. we rolled up, coffee, donuts, and
Okay.
everything else. So
Has what you learned in the service translated well into life after war? And if so, can you tell our viewers how?
in some ways, yes. In some ways, you know, I learned a lot about integrity. I learned a lot about personal responsibility and these kind of things. And they've really helped with just making a life for myself and trying to make me the person I want to be. And in some ways, I mean, it kind of shoots you in the foot because once again, you kind of get a different story wherever you go and
Yeah.
different people, different expectations. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, one of the hot button topics is PTSD. You and I are buddies. I know a little bit about you, know a little about me. But have you ever suffered with anything like this, or do you know anyone who is going through it right now?
Absolutely. I know a lot of people besides myself. And I like to call it reconditioning in many ways because I don't think it's a wrong thing. I suffer from a lot of depression and stuff like that, and a lot of that's just because you can only spend so much time in a state where you're constantly having adrenaline going, and you have these situations that are constantly occurring, and they're always new and they're always exciting, and then to come back and life just seems kind of boring after that, and so your body's like always. It's always expecting something, and so you're always, you're doing that, and
Sure.
it can be very hard and testing. But
I can only
it
imagine.
is what it is.
Well, that said, did you make any close friends over there while you were serving, and you keep in touch with them today?
Some I have a few people that I stay in close touch with, and one of the things I love about military relationships is. Some of them, I don't talk to them on a daily basis, weekly basis. Some of them I talk to them maybe every other year, but I might as well have been talking to them every day of my
Right,
life.
right.
And all the key stuff is always there.
That's
They
Yeah.
we communicate. So
Yeah.
It's all about communication.
all about
It
communication.
really is.
Well, if you had to sum it up in one thought, how did your service affect your life today?
It made me a much better person.
That's
It made
awesome.
me, realize and appreciate a lot of the things that I took for granted my whole life. So.
That's
As
awesome.
most of us do. Right?
Yeah, we do.
You know, I always joke about it, but it's so true. You know, you're getting your ass shot off wherever you're at, right? And you come home and you're standing in a bank line that's 10 minutes long, and all of a sudden it's not a big deal because you just got your ass shot off, right?
Oh no, or
You know?
sitting in traffic
sitting in
for
traffic, right, you take that-
3.5 hours.
Right,
trying to
right.
come
It's not a
home.
big
True.
deal, right?
No, in fact, it's great time. It's to turn on
Right.
some music,
Right,
relax.
right. Is there
so
anything else
true.
you'd like to add that maybe we didn't cover here today?
No, just if anybody's looking into going into the military, you know, you got to know first and foremost that you are a number, and it's not a matter of learning that you're a nobody. It's a matter of learning that you're the same as everybody else, no matter how different you are. So,
Very cool.
but
buddy.
it's a great experience if you're willing to put everything you got into it. So.
That's awesome.
You're awesome, man. And I'm honored and proud that we're going to be neighbors.
Yes.
I know, we're so excited.
Yeah, a couple doors away, not
Yep.
not too shabby.
Well, Michael, it's been an honor having you on our show.
Well, thank
and
you.
as-
Thank you so much
And,
for
and as I'm
having
gonna thank you, and as I'm gonna tell all of our vets, thank you so much for your service, buddy.
Thank you.
I can't believe they paid me to do it, to be honest with you.
Michael
This is
Mayo,
great.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
If you want to be if you're a combat veteran and want to be a guest on Life After War, please go ahead and check out the little thing right down there at the bottom of your screen. You can email us at lifeafterwar@empowerme.tv. When we come back, our next guest is a true patriot, right?
Yep, and folks, we've got some shout outs from our viewers out there, veterans all across the country. And please stay tuned for more Life After War on empowerme.tv.
Hi, I'm former U.S. Army Fire Support Specialist Curtis Waltermeyer, and you're watching Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv.
This is Air Force Major General David Craddock, as I played him in a movie. I'm not a real general, I'm an actor. My name is Don Maxwell, and I have a shout out for all of you real servicemen. Thank you for your service. You're watching Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv.
My name is Helge Helgeson. I'm a retired hospital corpsman 3rd class from the USS Puget Sound, and I want to give a shout out to all the U.S. military personnel throughout the world. And you're watching Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv.
Hi, welcome back to Life After War. My name is Jeff Bornstein, your host, along with the lovely Miss Kimberly.
Well, hi, everybody. It's awesome to be back.
And so our next guest, he joined the Army. He dropped out. He didn't drop out of high school. I'm going to let you tell him his story because I'm not doing. Navy. Ooh,
He
ow.
was in the Navy, he served on a destroyer, and he also worked for NBC. And he was a comedian, an actor, and a model. And at the age of 63, do you know what he said?
What?
He said anything is possible.
Hopefully 64. Just saying, man. Well, please welcome our guest, Mr. Rory O'Connor. Hey, Rory, how you doing, buddy?
Very
Sorry
good.
about that Army-Navy
Welcome,
reference,
Rory.
man. Well, you could have been
That's
like
okay.
Michael Mayo, our last. He went from Navy. There's a reason why he went Navy to Army. I'm just saying, okay?
Whatever works, my friend.
It's working now. Well, thank you so much for being on our show, man.
I'm honored.
Honored to have you, man. Thank you so much. So, where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in beautiful downtown Burbank.
Burbank.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Burbank's beautiful.
And I worked at NBC for 45 years after I got out of the service, 200 yards away from where I was born.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Very cool. And so you right out of high school, or you didn't finish high school.
I did finish high
did?
school,
Okay.
but I actually enlisted in the Navy prior to getting out of high school. Finished high school, there was a thing called the CASH program. As soon as I got out of high school, I went right in the Navy. I was 17 years old, and I loved the Navy. I had the best time ever. When I went in there, I was a little kid. They took us at 5:30 in the morning, set us up here in LA, got us on a bus, did all our physicals and everything. Took me down there to San Diego at the recruit depot, and then got to bed about 3 o'clock in the morning. At 4 o'clock, they threw a trash can down the middle of the barracks, woke us up, and in that few hours, I grew up. I became a man.
Wow.
And because I learned I was in charge of my own life, and no longer did I have Mama protecting me.
Right. So that's I love and I think anyone who has gone through basic kind of has that same similar story, as we all do. But so you were in Vietnam.
Yes.
In Vietnam, and what action, if any, what did you see, and how did that go? And what rank did you come out? And were you officer enlisted? What did you do?
Well, I was always an enlisted man.
Okay.
I actually went to Vietnam. I had been in the nuclear power program with submarines initially when I went into the service. When I had gone to nuclear power school, I actually got hit by a car. Took me out of the nuclear program. So then I had all this training and things, so they utilized me as a tech rep and flew me all over the world to repair submarines.
Nice.
I love that and everything, and I got tired of not being where the action was. So I said, and I told my wife, I was married at the time, and we weren't getting along anyway, so I just said, I'm going to Vietnam. And I ended up calling what they had in Washington, D.C. was called my detailer that said where you were going to go. I said, I want to go to Vietnam. Well, I had just come out of destroyer school because I had been in Nolens, Louisiana, putting the trip DE-1075 in commission, actually building the ships down there in Nolens.
So you were a shipbuilder. So you
I learned how, I was there as a representative of the Navy building these ships.
Wow.
So I learned about them. So
impressive.
I was pretty hip as to how they were built and how to repair them. So I went to Vietnam, flew over, caught the USS Trip DD 946, and was on station with them. I was at that time a first class, which is an E6 electrician. I was in charge of the electrical department, and the captain on there actually appointed me as the acting R division officer because he was having problems with his little ensign. If you remember Mr. Roberts, one time when we went to general quarters, they'd come out and the ensign had peed himself. And they made him the laundry and morale officer, just like out of Mr. Roberts. And since I was the next person in line, he made me the acting division officer.
Wow.
And in charge of the R division on the ship.
Wow. Now, this is in Vietnam, right?
Yes.
This is Vietnam. So, if you had to just pluck something out of the air, that was the most scariest thing that happened to you or that you saw.
Okay.
What would that be?
The thing that happened the scariest to me is we were actually bombing, sending, we had 5-inch shells that we were sending on shore, and we were at general quarters, and something had happened in one of the shaft alleys. And the shaft alleys are a thing that go all the way from the front of the ship to the back, and the shafts are like this big around, and that's what turns the screws, which is actually the propeller in the back that makes you go. And something had happened, and I had to go down and figure out what was going on. And it had to be a thing with the sound-powered phones or something that they couldn't communicate. So I went down there, and as I was coming back up, they changed what the direction the ship was going. The hatch came down, smacked me on the head, threw me down into the shaft alley. And I was knocked out, and I don't know for how many hours. When I come up, I was covered with blood, and they stitched me up and stuff, and then they sent me to the hospital in Sasebo, Japan. But that was like, man, talk about coming up thinking everything's okay, and getting bam, and I can still feel a big dong in my top
That
of
could
my
have like
head.
killed you,
Well,
hitting you on the top of the head.
Yeah, I had that headache for a long
Well, so
time.
you just answered an extra
Jeez.
question. What was the funniest thing and most memorable thing?
Well, that wasn't
You covered
the
all the
funniest
it is
thing.
today. It is today, right? In
Now,
retrospect.
now when I think about it, it is. But it was like
That little lump on your
man,
head? Yeah, we call that. Right.
It is a remembrance.
Looks like a
of what-
yarmulke. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I have a built-in yarmulke. But Vietnam was arduous being there. We were actually on station for over 120 days
My
without
gosh.
coming in shore. And that's on a ship that's 45 feet wide,
Wow.
145 feet long.
That's a lot of days.
It's a lot of days.
You see, one of my, I've got a lot of favorite movies, but one of my favorite movies is Full Metal Jacket.
Yes, yes.
Right, and you see the guys who go into the basic training and they go over to Nam and everything, right? So when you see this, in comparison, you're from a real point of view, real POV. How much does Hollywood really change it to what our viewers are seeing on? Whoa, it's like that now. Everyone has this big Hollywood thing, and it's
Yeah.
not like that.
No.
What would you say?
It's not.
Coming home. What was it like there and then coming home? How about that?
Well, I will tell you that over in Vietnam was not anything like you see in Hollywood for me, because they didn't show how shipboard life was. It was basically very boring. Moments of sheer boredom, and then suddenly you're at general quarters and all hell is breaking loose, and it's terror because you don't know, because a plane can come out of anywhere, or a bomb can hit you or something like this, and you didn't really know. I never had anything where I felt my life was actually in danger, thank God. But I will tell you, when I came home was the worst part of the whole thing. We were spit on. When out of Vietnam, there were
horrible.
all
Vietnam
the
vets
war
got it the
posters.
worst.
We were told when we got, when I was first in the service and we would travel, we were always proud to wear our uniform. During the last portion of my enlistment, when you traveled, you were not allowed to wear your uniform. You were a target. They didn't want you wearing it. When we got out, they didn't want us referring to anything. Everybody used to be, even though you couldn't wear your uniform, you'd wear your jackets because you have a jacket. U.S. Navy, we weren't allowed to do that because we were a target. And that was the worst thing. We had gone and we thought the uniform was our red badge of courage being out there. We were very proud being a veteran, being a patriot. But when we came home, we found out what was going on with the protests. Now, I don't like war at all, anyway. But we were there doing a job, and they looked like we as individuals had made this all happen. It wasn't, it was the government. And that was the worst part of it. And I am so glad that things have turned around.
Big time.
That we salute all of our service people. We take care of them now. I work with an organization
I saw
called
that.
VFT,
Yeah, I see that.
Veterans in
Veterans
Film
Forum,
and
yeah.
Television.
Yep.
It's a networking group that helps people that are in the industry or want to be in the industry connect, get jobs. We actually had, I think, 6 people that were an American Sniper.
Wow.
So we're very fortunate. And for me, it's wonderful meeting and getting to know the younger servicemen, whether they're on, we have guys that are on active duty and guys that are veterans. It's the wonderful, wonderful aspect of being able to network with people of the same mindset. Because as you well know, after being a veteran yourself, you have a different mindset from being a kid that's just running around. And when you get into regimentation, when you learn how to follow orders, you have honor, ethics, integrity, and loyalty that are far, far beyond anybody that has not been in the military.
Right, and I know we talked a little bit before the show. So
Yes.
you brought something with you. You made some friends, and have you kept in touch with any of these?
I
friends?
have one of my best friends, and he actually sent me, this is a cruise book, and on whenever you take a cruise in the Navy, it's like a book that you would have when you're graduating high school.
Oh, it's like a
and
yearbook.
my best buddy was a guy named Ed Grimes. And let's see if I can find the picture of him in here. Eddie was a sonarman.
And you've had this for book
Yeah.
for how long?
He actually sent it to me because I lost mine. Ed's at the top in the middle there.
a great
Ed
book.
Grimes.
That's a great shot.
And just a great guy. And when I had
And which one is he?
He's the
Which one is he?
top middle right
Right
there.
there?
Nice.
Right there. That's it.
Giving Ed an old shout out there.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie. Good guy, man. Eddie, you're my buddy.
Right.
Good to see you, pal. Yeah, he actually sent me this book. He had an extra one. He had seen me. As you know, I'm an actor, and I had done a Super Bowl commercial for Pepsi. And he saw it. We got back in touch with each other. I love Facebook. That's a way,
Great.
and I have people that I hadn't seen in 40 or 50 years
Wow.
that had actually connected with me. Speaking of 50 years, do you have the picture of me?
Well, so you said you're an actor.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So the picture of you in the barber chair?
Yes.
Santa.
That actually came
I
out
would like
of
to see that picture.
Rolling Stone magazine.
Okay.
Rolling Stone magazine, and here's the picture.
Look at that. I think we have a bigger shot of that. We got
That's
a bigger shot of that.
great.
Look at that. You guys see that?
I love that picture. That was just a fun picture whenever
That's
you
a great
sent that
shot.
to
Well,
us.
the
I was
whole
like, this
the
is
thing that's so
awesome.
cool about it is it looks like a Norman Rockwell.
It
And
totally does.
The people that took it told me that they're going to try and re-release it every single year, and there's different variations.
When was that shot?
That was shot actually in April of last year.
Oh, nice.
And it got into Rolling Stone and Entertainment Weekly magazine in December of last year. And I was just so pleased with it.
I love. It's a great shot. Are you kidding? It's a great shot.
That's so awesome.
I'm coming to your house for Christmas.
Well, I actually am.
Telling ya.
I play Santa all the time.
Nice.
In fact, I was Santa at the Veterans Stand Down at the Convention Center last Christmas, December 21st, giving toys out to homeless veterans and their children.
God bless you,
And
man.
the best thing, what more could I ask for? I am so honored and so blessed to be able to give these kids and these homeless veterans toys and things that have been donated by our wonderful companies and people around town that are able to do so.
Well, thank
That's
you so much,
awesome.
bud.
Yes.
It's,
And thank
Rory,
you for everything
thank
that you've done, and thank
You know,
you for your
thank you.
service.
How would our viewers, if
Yes.
they wanted to get in touch with you, how would they be able to get in
The
touch
easiest
with
way is on Facebook.
you? Facebook? Okay.
Facebook, I'm there all the time.
Okay.
And look me up, Rory O'Connor, and I'm right there. And I'd love to make friends with anybody. I also do stand-up comedy across the nation. So if they see my name on a marquee, I also go by the name Uncle Rory.
Nice.
Please
that's
come out and see
great.
me.
See Rory.
Yes,
well, it's been
go
an
and see
honor
him.
having you on our show. And as I tell every veteran, thank you so much for your service, buddy.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Rory.
Thanks, Rory.
Rory O'Connor,
Thank
ladies
you
and gentlemen.
So much. So nice to meet
Thank
you.
you so much. If you would like to be a guest on our show, if you're a combat veteran, please check us out right there at the bottom on the dog tag, Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv. And
Before we go today, we did want to dedicate this episode to a very, very dear friend.
I had a very good friend of mine, Al Kneff. Him and I served together. Still tough. Him and I served together, he just passed a few weeks ago. So we just did the honor for him over at over in
Is it Fort Snelling?
Fort Snelling. Yes, Fort Snelling. So I want to give a shout out to Al's family. We love you, Al. And here's a picture of Al I took of him when we were stationed in Germany together. He was on CQ, and we were both young guns there. It's my brother in arms. So I love you, Al. Love you very much, buddy.
We're going to really miss you, but you're always in our hearts.
Yeah. Again, tune in next week on Life After War on EmpowerMe.tv. Thank you,
And we've
guys.
got some amazing veterans, and we look forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you.